next one, we're going to get a $33,000 pay jump. So much better than before. Blind versus blind. Danny Tang is down to 9 big blinds. Fedor wondering what to do with 9-6 offsuit. And he is going to start with the limp. Danny's got to be pretty happy that he's going to not have to auto-fold this. He doesn't have the option to check. All right, so we're going to get a free flop here, 9 big blinds effective. 2 garbage hands.
Yeah, 2 garbage hands that are happy to see a flop.
Ooh. Now, I imagine this favors Fedor, right? Like, just given
to the flop, yeah,
yes,
because he elected to play his hand, and Danny didn't raise when given the chance. So yeah, Fedor stabbing here, especially with a spade, makes a lot of sense. You should favor stabbing spades. Danny's going to have a lot of suited hands, right? Suited hands that don't raise, that just want to see the flop. That's what happens in a lot of these spots. So
we're expecting Danny to have jammed 2 broadways pre-flop, given he landed 9 big blinds.
Yeah.
So we say this wouldn't hit him, but he's still going to call here a bottom pair, expecting Fedor to just take random stabs.
Yeah, Fedor has a better than average hand to stab with for a nothing hand because he has the spade. And in fact, I mean, this is a bit of a tricky card. I mean, he got called, but yeah, Fedor would love to bluff deuces out, right? Which is what Danny has.
Or like a really funny jack. Is that possible?
Yeah,
like a
maybe.
jack 6 of hearts, you know?
Yeah. So he has a lot of incentive to bluff. And again, having the spade pretty big. It's not a spot you're obligated to take by any means.
That's definitely worth considering.
Yeah.
Now, you're Danny. We're taking a free card here. River is the 8. It's going to be really hard for Fedor to take a stab here, I imagine, with this card pairing.
Yeah, Fedor definitely has to be worried about a deuce or a jack. I mean, not as kings as much. I mean, you have to think Danny, you know,
with that stack size, a lot of incentive to bet the turn, right?
A lot of king X type hands like would just jam versus the limp, right? Because they're almost good enough to call. So like if it's good enough to call, you just jam when the guy limps. It's like, oh, you're trapping me, like God bless you. But
so it does look like Danny has a deuce, or he's going to go for it with the 9-6 offsuit. That is a ballsy play. Danny knows his hand looks like a jack or a deuce. But what do you do when you think the guy knows what you got? Do you do the hero call? I mean, like, this is tough, right?
This is just like, look, Danny. I mean, they've been doing this. Danny's been staring at him all day. I wonder if he's going to do it again. Yeah, this is sick. This is a tough spot. I mean,
no easy answer, right?
Yeah, there's no easy answer here.
Well, I thought for a second, those are time bank chips. He's going to need a lot of time here. He knows his hand looks very weak. Will Fedor go for this bet line? I mean, you know, if Fedor had a king without a spade, he got a lot of incentive to bet the turn too, right? So maybe Danny's like, well, do you really have a king here?
Maybe, but he could for sure, right? I mean,
well, yes, of course, with mixed strategy.
Yeah. So, sure, sometimes he'll bet the turn himself, but not. And then the nice thing is when the turn gets checked back, like it feels like a spot you could even overbet a king. Obviously, Fedor could have an 8.
You could have a random 8.
Way more than Danny because, you're right, like Fedor. It's hard for Danny to call on the flop with many hands that have 8s, but Fedor's going to be bluffing a ton of hands. Like he has 9-6. Like, why couldn't it be 8-6?
Guess Fedor could have a random flush too, right? Given how small the effective stack size was on the turn.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, but I think if we're going to do the minimum for Fedor's value bet, it's a king. King's up here, right? And bluffs, but the thing is he can have a lot of bluffs. Because, I mean, there's just going to be a lot of hands that are nothing the way this got played. So it's just a spot where, yeah, Danny's, you know, bluff catching.
Wow, he makes the call with the pair of deuces. Yeah. Amazing. Really sick for his tournament life here. Fedor down to 900K, trying to bully Danny Tang. But I guess you said that had a little bit of a stare down history, too.
Yeah, there was some funny stuff earlier in the day. I was sitting next to Fedor where Danny was just like